Monica Johnson was excited but a little tired as she drove her kids to the airport. It was early morning, and the sun was just starting to peek over the city skyline. She had planned this trip for weeks. Her company had invited her to a big conference in New York, and she had worked hard to prepare for it. She wanted everything to go smoothly. Monica had purchased first-class tickets for herself and her 2 children, hoping the trip would be comfortable. She wanted to make it easier for her kids, who were young and sometimes fidgety on long flights. When they arrived at the airport, Monica parked the car and helped her children carry their small bags. She loved traveling with them, but she also knew airports could be stressful. She hoped the check-in process would be quick. At the check-in counter, she smiled at the airline staff and handed over her identification and tickets. Everything went well there. The clerk checked them in, printed the boarding passes, and sent them on their way. Monica felt relieved. So far, so good. They walked through security. Monica made sure her children followed the rules, taking off shoes, placing their small bags on the conveyor belt, and passing through the scanner. Everything was fine, and soon they were in the departure area. The airport was busy that morning. People hurried past with rolling luggage. Announcements were made over the loudspeakers, and the scent of coffee and pastries filled the air. Monica tried to keep her children close, holding their hands as they approached Gate 12, where their flight would board in about 20 minutes. Monica felt proud. She had done everything right. Her tickets were confirmed, her children were prepared, and she had even made time to grab a small breakfast. She wanted this trip to be enjoyable, especially for her children. They loved to watch the planes take off, and she liked to watch their eyes light up as the engines roared. She smiled, imagining the excitement they would feel soon. When they arrived at the gate, a gate agent was standing behind the counter, busy scanning boarding passes. Monica stepped up, smiling politely, and handed over her first-class ticket. The agent looked at her for a long moment. Monica assumed the agent was simply busy and trying to concentrate. She waited patiently. Then the agent frowned. "Ma'am, I need to check this ticket," she said, her tone sharp. Monica was a little confused. She had purchased the tickets directly through the airline's website. "It's a first-class ticket," she said calmly. "Everything is in order." The agent's expression did not soften. Instead, she leaned closer and squinted at the boarding pass. Monica could feel her heart beat a little faster. She tried to stay calm. She wanted to avoid making a scene. "I bought these tickets online," she explained. "You can verify them if you like." The gate agent shook her head. "I can't let you board with this ticket," she said. Her voice was firm and loud enough that nearby passengers began to notice. Monica felt her face flush. She had hoped for a quiet resolution, but now the attention was on her. Before Monica could respond, the agent did something shocking. She tore the boarding pass in half, right in front of Monica. The ripped paper fell to the counter. Monica felt a wave of disbelief and humiliation. She could not believe what had just happened. Her children looked up at her with wide eyes. They were scared and confused. "Mom, what's wrong?" her youngest asked softly. Monica took a deep breath and knelt down to hug her children. She wanted to comfort them, even though she was feeling frustrated and angry. "It's okay," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We will fix this." She stood up and turned to the agent. "I need to speak to a supervisor," she said, keeping her tone steady. The gate agent frowned and crossed her arms. "You need to leave the line. Security may need to handle this," she said, gesturing toward the side. Monica felt a mix of fear and anger. She knew this treatment was unfair. She had done everything right. She had paid for her tickets and followed all the rules. She tried to remain calm. She did not want to argue in a way that would make the situation worse. She asked again politely, "Can I speak to a supervisor, please? My tickets are valid." The agent looked annoyed but finally picked up the phone. Monica waited as she explained the situation. Other passengers began to whisper and glance over. Some looked concerned, some looked curious, and a few quietly recorded the scene on their phones. Monica ignored them. She focused on her children and tried to stay composed. While waiting for the supervisor, Monica decided to call her company's legal department. She had recently joined a company that always supported its employees, and she knew the legal team could help. She explained the situation quickly and asked them to verify her ticket. She could hear the agent sighing behind her, clearly irritated. The wait was stressful. Her children fidgeted, asking questions and whispering about the torn ticket. Monica comforted them, explaining that everything would be okay. Finally, a supervisor arrived. He was older, with a kind expression, and he immediately asked Monica what had happened. She explained carefully, showing him her original ticket confirmation on her phone. The supervisor checked the details. Within moments, he confirmed that Monica's ticket was indeed valid. The gate agent looked embarrassed, and the supervisor gave her a gentle but firm look. Monica felt a small sense of relief, but the humiliation lingered. She had been treated unfairly in front of her children and other passengers. She wanted to put the experience behind her, but she also wanted to make sure it did not happen to anyone else. Meanwhile, Monica's phone rang. It was the legal team from her company. They had verified her ticket and were calling the airline to demand an explanation. Monica could feel her confidence returning. She spoke calmly to the legal team, letting them handle the situation. Their presence on the phone seemed to change everything. The gate agent stepped back, and the supervisor assured Monica that she could board her flight immediately. Monica took a deep breath and smiled at her children. "We are going to our seats now," she said. Her children smiled back, relieved that everything was working out. They followed her as she walked toward the plane, holding their hands tightly. Monica felt proud of herself for staying calm, even when the situation was difficult and embarrassing. As they approached the aircraft, other passengers whispered and watched, some nodding in approval. Monica's children were excited again, pointing at the plane and asking questions about the seats. She smiled and told them they would have plenty of room in first class. For a moment, she felt the stress of the airport melt away. Monica thought about the experience as they boarded. She realized how quickly things could go wrong for travelers, especially when misunderstandings happen. She also realized the importance of staying calm and seeking help when needed. She had handled the situation with patience, and the support from her company's legal team had made all the difference. As they settled into their first-class seats, Monica hugged her children and whispered, "We did it. Everything is okay now." Her children giggled and leaned back in their seats, happy and relieved. Monica looked out the window at the busy runway and felt a mix of pride and exhaustion. She knew the day had started with a challenge, but she had turned it into a small victory. She also thought about the lessons she could share with others. She wanted people to know that it was important to stand up for themselves, to stay calm under pressure, and to ask for help when needed. Monica hoped that by sharing her story, she could help others avoid the embarrassment she had experienced or handle it better if it happened to them. The plane began to taxi down the runway, and Monica's children pressed their faces to the windows, watching other planes take off. Monica smiled, feeling the tension leave her body. The city below grew smaller as the plane gained speed. She held her children's hands and thought about the exciting week ahead in New York. Despite the morning's difficulties, she felt ready to face the next challenge, knowing she could handle whatever came her way. Monica Johnson settled into her first-class seat with her children, still feeling a mixture of relief and frustration. The torn ticket and the gate agent's behavior had left a mark, but the support from her company's legal team had changed everything. She watched her children fidget with the seat belts and explored the extra space around them. For a moment, she allowed herself to relax. The tension of the airport seemed far away now, replaced by the quiet hum of the plane engines and the soft chatter of passengers around them. Almost immediately, her phone rang again. It was the legal team, checking in to make sure everything was under control. Monica smiled as she answered. They had already spoken with the airline's management, confirming the situation and holding the gate agent accountable. The legal team reminded Monica that her rights as a passenger were fully protected, and that the airline had agreed to take responsibility for the incident. Monica felt a wave of reassurance wash over her dot as she ended the call. The flight attendants approached to welcome her family. They were polite and attentive, clearly informed about the earlier incident. One of them handed Monica a small bottle of water for each child and apologized for the inconvenience caused at the gate. Monica appreciated the gesture, though she knew the apology could not erase the embarrassment she had faced. She smiled and thanked them, thinking that this was at least a step toward making things right. Monica's mind wandered back to the crowd at the gate that morning. Passengers had been watching the incident unfold, some recording it with their phones. She wondered what they had thought as they witnessed a black mother being treated unfairly. She knew many of them had likely felt sympathy, but she also realized how quickly bias could appear, even in small actions. It made her more determined to handle the situation calmly and thoughtfully. She glanced at her children, who were now leaning back in their comfortable seats. They seemed happy again, chatting quietly about the plane and pointing out the clouds outside. Monica took a deep breath and allowed herself to enjoy the moment. She knew it was important to show her children how to stay composed in difficult situations. Her actions that morning had been a lesson for them, how to respond with patience, dignity, and firmness when faced with unfair treatment. While the plane climbed higher into the sky, Monica's phone buzzed with a notification from the airline. It was an official email confirming that the gate agent had been reprimanded and that the airline would issue a formal apology. Monica felt vindicated. She read the message aloud to her children, explaining that sometimes people make mistakes, but it is possible to stand up for what is right. Her children listened carefully, clearly impressed that their mother had handled the challenge so well. The flight attendants returned, bringing a small snack for each passenger. Monica's children eagerly accepted theirs, and she joined them in enjoying the treat. She felt a sense of calm she had not felt since arriving at the airport. Despite the rough start, the trip was finally peaceful. Monica thought about the day ahead in New York. She had work meetings, presentations, and social events, but at that moment, all that mattered was the safety and comfort of her children. Monica also reflected on the support of her legal team. She felt grateful that they had acted quickly, verifying her ticket and contacting the airline. Their presence had turned a stressful situation into a manageable one. She realized that having someone on your side, especially in situations involving unfair treatment, could make all the difference. She hoped that more people could have access to such support when needed. As the flight continued, Monica took out her notebook and began jotting down thoughts. She wanted to document the incident, both for herself and for others who might face similar challenges. She wrote about the emotions she had felt: anger, embarrassment, fear, but also about the pride she felt in maintaining her composure. She described how the support of her company and legal team had restored her confidence and allowed her to focus on her children's comfort. The plane began to level off at cruising altitude. Monica looked out the window at the endless sky, thinking about how small the world could feel in moments of stress, and how big it could feel when people come together to support each other. She felt a renewed sense of strength. The incident had been difficult, but she had handled it well. She realized that these experiences could teach resilience, patience, and the importance of standing up for oneself. Her children, now more relaxed, began talking about the trip ahead. They were excited to see New York City, to visit the parks, and to try the foods Monica had promised them. Monica smiled, feeling proud of how well they had coped with the morning's chaos. She thought about how important it was to remain calm in front of children, to model the behavior she wanted them to learn. Today had been a lesson for all of them, in patience, confidence, and dignity. After a while, the flight attendants approached again, this time asking if Monica needed any assistance. She thanked them and mentioned that everything was fine. They smiled and offered a kind word, acknowledging the earlier incident without making her feel uncomfortable. Monica appreciated their professionalism. She realized that small gestures of respect and kindness could make a big difference in restoring confidence and comfort after a stressful event. Monica also thought about the larger implications of what had happened. She knew that many travelers, especially black travelers, could face similar situations. The gate agent had acted unfairly, but Monica's calm response, combined with legal support, had turned the situation around. She hoped her experience could inspire others to seek help, speak up, and handle unfair treatment with dignity. As the plane approached New York, Monica checked her phone one more time. She had received messages from colleagues who had heard about the incident. They expressed concern and support, praising her for remaining calm and standing her ground. Monica felt touched by their words. She realized that support from others, whether legal, professional, or personal, could make even the most stressful experiences manageable. When the plane began its descent, Monica held her children's hands and reminded them to stay seated. She looked out the window at the city below, thinking about the exciting days ahead. Despite the morning's difficulties, she felt ready. She had faced an unfair situation and handled it with grace. She had shown her children how to stay calm and confident, even under pressure. She had relied on her support network and come out stronger on the other side. Finally, the plane landed smoothly. Monica gathered her belongings and helped her children into their coats. They stepped off the plane, and the excitement of New York City surrounded them. Monica felt a sense of accomplishment and relief. The day had begun with stress and embarrassment, but it ended with victory and confidence. She knew that she had handled everything as best as she could, and that her children had learned an important lesson about resilience and composure. As they walked through the airport terminal, Monica reflected on the incident. She thought about the gate agent, the passengers who had watched, and the airline staff who had finally taken responsibility. She hoped that sharing her story could help improve awareness and understanding, and perhaps prevent others from facing similar experiences. She felt proud of the way she had maintained her dignity and integrity throughout the ordeal. By the time Monica and her children reached the taxi line, she felt a sense of peace. The incident at the gate was behind them, and the trip ahead was full of possibilities. She held her children's hands, smiled, and looked forward to the adventures awaiting them in New York City. The morning's challenges had been difficult, but they had also taught her valuable lessons about patience, perseverance, and the power of standing up for what is right. Monica knew that the memory of the torn ticket would stay with her for a long time, but it would no longer be a memory of shame. It would be a memory of strength, calm, and triumph. She had handled the situation with care, relied on the right support, and protected her children's peace of mind. In that sense, the day had been a success. She had faced an unfair challenge, and she had overcome it, not with anger or confrontation, but with patience, dignity, and courage. As she helped her children into the taxi, she whispered to them, "Remember, no matter what happens, stay calm, speak up, and always trust yourself." Her children nodded, smiling, and Monica felt confident that they had learned a lesson as important as any they would encounter in New York. Today had been difficult, but they had faced it together, and they had come through stronger and happier than ever.